What if our bodies remembered our traumatic experiences long after our minds have forgotten them? This is the intriguing idea explored by Bessel van der Kolk in his groundbreaking book, The Body Keeps the Score. Van der Kolk, a leading expert in the field of trauma, draws on decades of research and clinical experience to argue that trauma affects not only the mind, but also the body. He explains how traumatic experiences can become lodged in our bodies, leading to a range of physical and emotional symptoms, including chronic pain, anxiety, and depression. In the introduction of the book, van der Kolk sets the stage for the fascinating journey he will take the reader on, starting with the story of his own childhood experience of being stranded on a beach during a storm. He recounts how this seemingly minor incident had a profound impact on his body, leaving him with a deep fear of water and a visceral memory of the storm's sounds and sensations. This personal anecdote serves as a powerful example of how our bodies can remember traumatic experiences, even when our conscious minds do not. Van der Kolk goes on to explain how this phenomenon has been documented in a range of contexts, from soldiers with PTSD to survivors of childhood abuse. By bringing together research from neuroscience, psychology, and other fields, van der Kolk provides a compelling argument for the importance of recognizing and treating trauma as a whole-body experience. His book promises to be an eye-opening exploration of the ways in which trauma shapes our bodies and our lives. Part 1. The Rediscovery of Trauma. Chapter 1, Lessons from Vietnam Veterans. The chapter discusses how the author's experience working with Vietnam veterans changed his understanding of trauma. The veterans experienced a range of symptoms, such as flashbacks, nightmares, and avoidance behavior, which were not explained by the traditional diagnosis of shell shock. The author realized that trauma was not just a psychological issue but also a physiological one that affected the brain and body. He learned that traditional talk therapies might not be enough to heal from trauma and that approaches such as EMDR and body-centered therapies could be effective. Chapter 2, Revolutions in Understanding Mind and Brain. This chapter discusses how advances in neuroscience have led to a better understanding of the relationship between the mind and the brain. The author explains how early studies of brain damage led to the belief that the brain was fixed and unchangeable. However, recent studies have shown that the brain is highly adaptable and capable of rewiring itself in response to experience. The author also discusses how psychological interventions such as cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness meditation can change the brain and improve mental health. Chapter 3, Looking into the Brain, the Neuroscience Revolution. The author delves deeper into the advances in neuroscience and explains how new technologies such as functional MRI and PET scans have allowed researchers to study the brain in real time. The author discusses how trauma can affect the brain's prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and hippocampus, leading to symptoms such as hyperarousal, dissociation, and memory problems. The author also highlights the importance of understanding the social context of trauma, such as the impact of childhood abuse and neglect. Chapter 4, Running for Your Life, The Anatomy of Survival. The chapter discusses how the body's survival responses can be triggered by trauma, leading to the activation of the fight or flight response. The author explains how the body's stress response system works and how prolonged exposure to stress can lead to physical health problems. The author also highlights the importance of body-centered therapies, such as yoga and somatic experiencing, in regulating the body's response to stress and promoting healing. The chapter also discusses how trauma can affect the immune system and contribute to chronic illnesses such as autoimmune disorders. Before we continue, we would like to inform you that we release these summaries in audio format on Spotify before we release them on YouTube in video format, with subtitles. We have also created a goldmine of information which you can get exclusive access to by supporting us on Patreon. You get in-depth summaries plus scripts, usually twice the length of our YouTube content, a list of the top 20 key takeaways and exercises, summary requests, and more. Thank you for the support and don't forget to hit the like button. Part 3. The Minds of Children. Chapter 5, Body-Brain Connections. The chapter discusses the connection between the body and the brain and how trauma can affect this connection. The author explains how the autonomic nervous system regulates bodily functions such as heart rate, breathing, and digestion. Trauma can lead to dysregulation of the autonomic nervous system, resulting in symptoms such as hypervigilance, dissociation, and chronic pain. The author also discusses the role of the vagus nerve in regulating bodily functions and how practices such as yoga and meditation can help to improve vagal tone and promote healing. Chapter 6, Losing Your Body, Losing Yourself. The chapter discusses how trauma can lead to dissociation, a condition in which a person feels detached from their body and emotions. The author explains how dissociation is a coping mechanism that allows a person to survive traumatic experiences but can also lead to a sense of disconnection from oneself and the world. The author highlights the importance of body-centered therapies such as somatic experiencing and dance/movement therapy in reconnecting with the body and promoting healing. Chapter 7, Getting on the Same Wavelength, Attachment and Attunement. The chapter discusses the importance of attachment in childhood development and how trauma can disrupt this process. The author explains how secure attachment involves a parent or caregiver being attuned to a child's needs and responding appropriately. Trauma can lead to insecure attachment, resulting in difficulties with relationships and emotional regulation. The author highlights the importance of attachment-focused therapies such as dyadic therapy and parent-child psychotherapy in healing from trauma. Chapter 8, Trapped in Relationships, The Cost of Abuse and Neglect. The chapter discusses the impact of abuse and neglect on childhood development and how it can affect relationships in adulthood. The author explains how traumatic experiences can lead to a sense of helplessness and powerlessness, resulting in difficulties with boundaries and trust. The author also discusses how trauma can affect the brain's reward system and lead to addictive behaviors. The author highlights the importance of trauma-informed care in addressing the needs of individuals who have experienced abuse and neglect. Chapter 9, What's Love Got to Do with It? In this chapter, the author emphasizes the importance of human relationships and connections in healing trauma. The author notes that trauma can damage an individual's ability to form meaningful relationships, leading to social isolation and further exacerbating their symptoms. He emphasizes the need for secure relationships to help repair this damage and promote healing. The chapter highlights the role of mindfulness, yoga, and meditation in helping individuals regulate their emotions and foster a sense of safety and security. The author also notes the importance of learning self-compassion and self-care to help individuals manage their symptoms and promote recovery. Overall, the chapter emphasizes the importance of recognizing the role of social support in healing trauma and the need for a holistic approach that addresses both the psychological and physiological aspects of trauma. Chapter 10, Developmental Trauma, The Hidden Epidemic. This chapter explores the impact of childhood trauma on an individual's mental and physical health. The author highlights the fact that childhood trauma can have long-lasting effects, leading to a range of mental health problems, including addiction, anxiety, and depression. He also discusses how trauma can impact brain development, leading to difficulties with emotional regulation, attention, and social interactions. The chapter emphasizes the need to recognize and treat developmental trauma to help individuals live fulfilling lives. The author notes that traditional talk therapy may not be enough to help individuals process traumatic experiences and suggests alternative therapies, including somatic therapy, EMDR, and neurofeedback. Overall, the chapter highlights the hidden epidemic of developmental trauma and the need for greater awareness and understanding of the long-term effects of childhood trauma on mental and physical health. Chapter 11, Uncovering Secrets, The Problem of Traumatic Memory. This chapter explores the complex nature of traumatic memories and how they can be stored differently in the brain. The author notes that traumatic memories can resurface unexpectedly, leading to intense emotional reactions and further exacerbating an individual's symptoms. The chapter discusses the limitations of traditional talk therapy in helping individuals process traumatic memories and suggests alternative therapies, including EMDR, somatic therapy, and neurofeedback. The author emphasizes the need for a safe environment to help individuals remember traumatic experiences and integrate them into their life story. Overall, the chapter highlights the complexity of traumatic memories and the need for individualized treatment approaches that address the unique needs of each individual. Chapter 12, The Unbearable Heaviness of Remembering. This chapter explores the impact of trauma on an individual's ability to remember and how traumatic memories can impact an individual's sense of self. The author notes that traumatic experiences can be difficult to integrate into an individual's life story, leading to a sense of disconnection and fragmentation. The chapter emphasizes the importance of creating a safe environment to help individuals remember traumatic experiences and integrate them into their life story. The author notes that therapy can help individuals make sense of their traumatic experiences and develop a coherent narrative that promotes healing and growth. Overall, the chapter highlights the importance of treating trauma to help individuals move forward in their lives and emphasizes the role of therapy in promoting recovery and growth. Part 5, Paths to Recovery. Chapter 13, Healing from Trauma, Owning Yourself. In this chapter, Van der Kolk discusses different types of therapies that can help individuals heal from trauma. The author emphasizes the importance of being present and aware of one's body and emotions in order to process and manage traumatic experiences. He notes that various forms of therapy can be helpful, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness-based stress reduction, and neurofeedback. Additionally, van der Kolk emphasizes the importance of finding a therapist who is well suited to the individual's needs and who is trained in trauma-focused therapy. Chapter 14, Language, Miracle and Tyranny. This chapter explores how language can be both a powerful tool for healing and a source of difficulty for trauma survivors. The author explains how language can be used to reshape our understanding of traumatic events and how it can help individuals feel more in control of their experiences. However, he also notes that language can be limiting and may not accurately capture the complexity of traumatic experiences. Van der Kolk suggests that individuals use a variety of tools, such as writing, art, and other creative outlets, to help process their experiences and express their emotions in ways that language may not allow. Chapter 15, Letting Go of the Past, EMDR. EMDR, Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing, is a form of therapy that van der Kolk discusses in this chapter. The author explains how EMDR can help individuals reprocess traumatic memories and emotions. The therapy involves following a therapist's fingers or a light back and forth while focusing on a traumatic memory or image. Van der Kolk notes that EMDR has been effective in treating PTSD and can be helpful in addressing other issues related to trauma. Chapter 16, Learning to Inhabit Your Body, Yoga. Van der Kolk explores the benefits of yoga in this chapter, specifically for individuals who have experienced trauma. The author notes that yoga can help individuals reconnect with their bodies, manage their emotions, and reduce anxiety and depression. Yoga can also help individuals develop a sense of control over their bodies and their experiences, which can be especially helpful for individuals who feel disconnected from their bodies after experiencing trauma. Van der Kolk emphasizes the importance of finding a qualified yoga teacher who understands trauma and can guide individuals through a practice that is safe and healing. Chapter 17, Putting the Pieces Together, Self-Leadership. In this chapter, van der Kolk stresses the importance of self-leadership in healing from trauma. He explains how a lack of control over one's life can lead to a sense of helplessness and hopelessness. He suggests that individuals need to take charge of their recovery process by developing self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-care strategies. He also discusses how this can be accomplished through a variety of techniques, including mindfulness, journaling, and therapy. Chapter 18, Filling in the Holes, Creating Structures. This chapter focuses on how the creation of structures can help individuals recover from trauma. Van der Kolk explains how trauma can lead to a loss of structure in one's life, causing a sense of chaos and disorganization. He suggests that creating structure can help individuals regain a sense of control and predictability. He explores the benefits of establishing routines, setting goals, and creating supportive social networks. He also discusses how trauma-informed communities and workplaces can provide an environment of safety and structure that can support healing. Chapter 19, Rewiring the Brain, Neurofeedback. In this chapter, van der Kolk explores the potential of neurofeedback as a treatment for trauma. He explains how neurofeedback can help regulate brain activity, particularly in the amygdala, which is responsible for the fight or flight response. He also discusses how neurofeedback can help individuals learn to regulate their emotional responses and improve their ability to focus and concentrate. He explores the benefits and limitations of neurofeedback and highlights the importance of individualized treatment. Chapter 20, Finding Your Voice, Communal Rhythms and Theater. This chapter explores the benefits of communal rhythms and theater in healing from trauma. Van der Kolk explains how these activities can help individuals regulate their emotions, build social connections, and develop a sense of purpose and meaning. He suggests that communal rhythms, such as drumming circles and dancing, can help individuals connect with their bodies and with others. He also discusses the therapeutic potential of theater, which can provide individuals with a safe space to explore their emotions and experiences. Epilogue, Choices to be made. In the epilogue, van der Kolk reflects on the journey of healing from trauma and emphasizes the importance of making choices that support one's recovery. He suggests that healing is a lifelong process and that individuals need to continually engage in practices that support their well-being. He also highlights the role of community and society in supporting healing and calls for a greater awareness of the prevalence and impact of trauma in our society. Finally, he encourages readers to take action to create a more trauma-informed world. Conclusion. In the conclusion of The Body Keeps the Score, Bessel van der Kolk highlights the importance of recognizing the role of trauma in our lives and taking steps to heal from it. He emphasizes that the journey to healing is a difficult one, but it is ultimately worth it to be able to live a full and satisfying life. Van der Kolk also stresses the importance of integrating different approaches to healing, including traditional therapies, as well as alternative therapies like yoga, neurofeedback, and theater. He notes that each person's journey to healing will be unique and that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. Ultimately, Van der Kolk argues that we need to change the way we think about trauma and mental health as a society. We need to recognize that trauma is a widespread issue that affects many people and that it is not something to be ashamed of. By destigmatizing trauma and prioritizing healing, we can create a more compassionate and supportive society for all.